The ANC's Limpopo chairperson Stan Mathabata has called for the step-aside resolution to be refined. The party is currently holding a special provincial general council in Polokwane to discuss policy positions. This as the ANC is preparing for a national policy conference this coming weekend. One of the regions in Limpopo, Vembe, is pushing for clearer guidelines on stepping aside.
Definitely, step-aside resolution is a resolution of conference of the African National Congress. So as part of the policy-making process, we are bound to discuss issues such as that one. Remember what we said even in the NEC about the step-aside resolution, that we are sort of repairing the aircraft whilst it is in motion. So there will definitely be reasons for review time and again, or periodically. So definitely this General Council is also going to discuss that.
Take you back to that provincial policy gathering by the ANC in Limpopo. Bring in our reporter, Pelane Pakgadi. So, Pelane, they say you refined the step-aside guidelines for the ANC. Are all parts of Limpopo on board with that suggestion?
Not Vembe per se, because on our previous crossing, when we were talking to the regional secretary, Ruzano Luder, he says from his regional council, there has been a direct mandate, and the direct mandate is that there must be a total scrapping of the step-aside resolution, because it is not coming through as far as the constituency of the ANC is concerned. They are not believing in it as far as the region in Vembe is concerned, and they feel that it is unconstitutional, so therefore they are demanding that it be completely scrapped off. But let me bring in the newly elected regional secretary of Waterberg. You do know that for many months they had been failing to sit for their regional conference, and you said congratulations. You said freely this weekend there was no festival of chairs as we've seen in previous times, no volatile situation whatsoever. But talk to us about what really brings you here, the issue around the policy, and on the step aside, what is the region's standpoint?
With regard to the issue of step aside, we are saying we are reviewing, but not to scrap it off, because it's a policy that will actually make sure that all leaders of the African National Congress conduct themselves into a dignified manner. Thank you.
So, Rufus, just explain to us now, I'm sure from your discussions at the RGC or the regional conference when you were dealing with breakaway and commissions, and besides it being reviewed and ensuring that it is implemented in a way that is fair to everybody, at the standpoint, what is it exactly, if I can ask, that you are having a problem with as far as the step aside is concerned?
We never had a resolution where we said we have a problem with the issue of step aside. As I've indicated that, remember the provincial conference came before our regional conference. So we had resolutions in the provincial conference. So we do not have a RGC where we are going to deal with other issues, but we can't even amend. Remember, the regional structure is the lower structure of the PEC. So we delegates, we've participated in the provincial conference, and we've taken the resolutions that we must actually review, not to scrap it out of this thing, because it's going to help us as the African National Congress.
Review, it is the standpoint of the Waterberg region at this point. What are other policy matters that you believe that are important and cognizant of you guys to deal with here, and as an outcome, this is what you want as Waterberg?
Look, we've got serious challenges with regard to issue of education that we need to dwell much on, making sure that we come up with policies that will ensure that all our society are well capacitated and have a good quality of education.
So education will be a key matter there for the issue, for the region of Waterberg. That is Rufus Magoro, of course, the newly elected regional secretary of Waterberg District, Tembekile. But of course, there is that issue now around the step aside. They say that as far as they're concerned, they've been part of the provincial elective conference where delegates were able now to come forward and say that they want it to be reviewed and they're not going to be changing or backing down as far as that is concerned. Unlike Vembe, which says that they went back and they've had a regional general council after the provincial conference, and their mandate now has been changed from review to say it should be completely scrapped off. And earlier on, you had Stan Matawata on the bite before we did this interview that he was saying that it should be reviewed and refined because it has been unfair on some of his comrades here in the province. Florence Radzilane, the deputy chairperson, who had to step aside, and she came back 2 years later because she was not formally charged. Denim sees on the previous administration, he stepped aside because he was charged and was unable to run for the secretariat position of which he was nominated for by many of the branches here in Limpopo.
Pelane Pakgadi, thank you very much for that update from Limpopo.